just the gifts of being an American citizen. And a lot of times when I talk to you or experience different events, it reminds me of how fortunate we are to be in America. Turn it up. I can do that. All right. Again, this thing's a little intimidating for me. It's a big ball here that I will do my best with. But I have a lot to talk about, and I do want to make sure we have time for questions and comments. So I'm going to actually leave this up to you. Do you want me to start with any questions from you guys? You want me to go ahead and just tell you things are going on? Okay, and then I will make sure I leave enough time to talk. Okay, so I got this broken down into two different sections. One only relates to West, and one relates to all the Friends' homes. So I'm going to start with West. All right, no particular order. So I have shared with you that we are installing a new check-in system. We are moving away from our beautiful, wonderful magnet system, which you have to do every morning, the sun and the moon. We are moving to a system through a product called Vigil, and it will be replacing our emergency call systems. And it will also have a new feature. It's called a check-in feature. It's a button. And so with this, you can either opt in or opt out. If you opt in, we're going to put your name on a list, and every day between a certain time, whether it's 6 a.m. and 12 p.m., you have to push a button. If you don't push that button, security is going to do a report, and we're going to come and check on you. We're going to make sure that you're okay, and we'll do that on a daily basis. You're not required to do it. Do I recommend it? I do recommend it. And as I said last month, it's not for you, but for your family, because there's nothing worse than you falling in the night or something like that, and we don't find out for a day or two because we either wait till our neighbor tells us or a family member calls and says, "Will you go check on my mom or my dad? I've not heard from them." So the project has started, and it temporarily was put on hold. And the reason why it was put on hold is we are actively moving our security command center. Now that's a very big word for me, command center. It is currently at our Whittier desk over on the Friends Homes Guilford campus. And with COVID, it caused us a lot of problems because, as you know, it's hard to go to healthcare. There's a lot of restrictions. And so we started evaluating, and we made the decision that we're actually going to move it out of our healthcare center at Guilford and move it over here to West. And that is going to be taking place in the next 2 weeks. So you know Linda has already moved. She's now behind Rose's desk, and we are going to utilize her office along with the current security office to kind of do two things. One, it's going to house our security team that does patrols here and monitors the cameras in the front desk, but it's also going to monitor our command center. And that command center is 24 hours. That man or woman sits at a desk, and all they do is look for emergency calls, either West or Guilford, respond to fire alarms, respond to nurse calls, any type of issues going on. When you call the main line, that's who you get. Okay, so we're going to be doing that next 2 weeks, and we were having a problem with one of our vendors because they were working on our Vigil install system, and so we put them, we said, stop that, focus on this. When you get done with that, we want you to go back and work on the call center, the emergency call for independent living. So Vigil call system will be started up probably in the next 3 weeks, and the goal is to have that project done by September. So your current system still works, your emergency call system still works, but we will be transitioning that over in the next probably 2 months. So I wanted to make you aware of that. That may have been in Donna's minutes, weekly minutes. If not, it'll probably be in there next week. Okay, I don't like talking about trees coming down, but we have a couple trees that are coming down this Friday. So as part of the construction project, I call this the ring road, the road that goes around the campus. You have not been able to drive all the way around because they're doing work, as you know, in the Wellness Center. But right when you get past the visitor parking on the left, the new construction plans call for additional parking to be added. Somewhere between 10 and 16 spaces are going to be on the other side of the road, kind of looking back toward the bridge where the north track is. So this Friday, they're going to be taking down there may be some other trees, but there are 3 very large trees they'll be taking down to build up a retaining wall and to start building a new parking spaces. Once the project is done, those spaces will be opened up to us. But that'll be this Friday. So when that happens, part of the lane will be closed for most of the day. When the trees are actually coming down, they'll be closing both lanes. I don't really know how much it's going to impact our residents per se, because most of you park out here, but if you park in the back, understand one lane for a period of time, and when the tree actually falls down, they will close both lanes until they can get the tree removed. All right. I wish I could tell you exactly what time the tree's coming down. I do not know. But it is this Friday, God willing, that will take place. Now, long term, we are actually, I'll skip ahead. Donna in her weekly missives talked about the dining room. So we had met with a group of residents talking about opportunities with our dining room. Do we wait until the Wellness Center is completed, which is still set for March of 2022, and then start the dining room renovations, or do we start now? And I think you may remember at my last chat, it was going to be management's recommendation that we start now. We go ahead, rip the Band-Aid, and move forward. So we did meet with several residents to talk about that. It was very beneficial because they helped us think of things that we didn't think about since we don't live here and this is your home. It was very productive, but we did come to a conclusion that we are going to move forward with closing the main dining room. And in Donna's letter last week, she explained that we're going to be transitioning that over to the resident lounge. She put in there that we will be doing some reservation table seatings. So I won't even try to recall everything she put down, but it was very well laid out. I will share with you, I just got off the call with construction, meeting that we are moving forward. They're telling us that the dining room is going to be shut down August 2nd. August 2nd. The project is scheduled to take 11 months. So that means we should get it back to us in July. There is a little cushion in there. So they actually gave me a better date, but Dawn is very smart. She said, don't give them the better date, give them the cushion date. So hopefully, worst case scenario, it'll be 11 months and we will get back in July. What they did tell us, we're still having issues with getting some products in and some materials. So they will not start the project until they have materials in place. So this August 2nd date could get pushed out. They're still waiting on a couple things to come in. But they said if we start August 2nd, they will start building up a safety wall, if you will, that will take out part of that little area outside the dining room to close off. They are going to make us a little window so we can look in and see what work is being done. But they wanted me to make sure I tell you that although they're starting on August 2nd, you probably will not see a lot of activity until August 10th. And then there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of noise. I don't know what that means, but that's what they said, a lot of noise. And then on August 17th, that's when the walls will start coming down. So we are actually blowing out our dining room. So we're moving it back toward the kitchen, but we're also moving it out. So the walls will start coming down around August 17th with a hope to be concluded by the end of June of next year. When they start working on the dining room, sometime in September or October, we have to do something with stormwater. It's called a sand filter. And so again, we're going to have to close the ring road down to one lane for a period of about a month. So they have to tear up some things and put a sand filter in. When that comes closer to being happening, I will give you, they said they'll give us 1 week notice. But they gave us 3 months notice to tell us it's going to be either September or October. And once they start, it will be about a 1 month process where we'll be down to one lane coming and going to the back of the building. On that same note, as it relates to construction, we're still, if you haven't looked out here on the farm, things are moving forward. They're pouring cement. The walls are going up on the Villa Apartments. The bridge is done. The bridge is actually done. They put a protective coating on it, so as the trucks are going back and forth, it's not going to tear up the wood. But one of the things that came up, actually from a couple of residents, if you've been looking in the in the courtyard, you're starting to see where light poles are going in. So as part of our construction, we are updating our lighting, we are updating our path lighting, egress lighting, And I remember it was probably over a year ago that concerns were brought up related to will this lighting just be focused on the courtyard, or we're going to have some issues of it kind of bleeding back into our apartments. And so we brought that up at the table. We said we want to make sure we have down lighting, that it's focused on the courtyard. So I had a couple of residents come to me here lately and saying, are you sure these lights are actually going to be focused in the courtyard and not going to have pushback onto the apartments? And so I brought the question up, and I will tell you there is some concern now that the lights that we have purchased and that are being installed they're called down lights. So again, it's all about communication. They are considered down lights. I was thinking a light that's just focused on this area, but this is a 360-degree light. So what I've shared with residents, I'm sharing with you, we're not going to know until we know. So when the lights are put up, we're going to see what kind of light, I'm going to call it light pollution, because they look beautiful until you try to go to bed, right? And then some of you are more sensitive than others to light. Some people like night lights, other people, I want it pitch black. So what I want to share with you, as those lights go up and get installed and they actually get turned on, then we're going to really know what we're dealing with. And then we'll make a decision on how we handle it. The lights have been purchased, the work has been installed, power's been ran. So I don't want to say we got what we got. I will tell you we're getting what we're getting, but we will continue to work on how to address it if it's causing any issues with residents. Okay, so I want to make you aware of that as well. All right, I'm looking for some good news here. So one of the things that we were hoping for is Friends Homes West is 28 years old this year. And one of the things that's been on our watch list is we need to update our exhaust system in the kitchens. They're 28 years old. And so they're not doing quite the job they used to do when they were first installed. So we were planning, way before we determined we were going to do a shutdown of the dining room, that we would need to reinstall new exhaust systems. We already did it at the Guilford campus. It's about a 1-week process that the kitchen will be shut down. And when it's shut down, we're not cooking necessarily, like we're not using the grill, anything that would require exhaust. We're still cooking, but we're limited. So we put a contract order in place several months ago. We still do not have the materials. Our hope was that this was going to be done prior to the dining room renovation. It's not going to happen. What they told me today on my call is that we are looking probably sometime in August is we're going to have to shut down the exhaust system in the kitchen to replace the exhaust hood. Has nothing to do with construction or renovations. It has to do with just normal operation, repairs and maintenance. So just found that out. I know Nick's here, Carly's here. They're probably hearing that for the first time, so we need to figure out what that means. But I'm sorry, but it's going to be for 1 week and most likely in August. We'll give you a more formal date once the materials are on site. Rick Hatch does not want to give a date till the materials are here because they keep telling us it's coming. And in our world today, we've learned not to really trust that. So I'll let you know more as we know more. I want to talk to you as we move the command center. One of the things that we learned as part of the semi-annual meeting that we had here, or maybe it was the annual meeting we had here at West, not everybody's badges work at both campuses. So if you go over to Guilford to have lunch or dinner or use their fitness center, several of your badges are not working. Well, upon investigation, we learned that there's actually 2 systems. Don't ask me why we did this, but we did. We set up a West badge system and a Guilford badge system. But we're Friends Homes. So we've gone back to the contractor, vendor, and we said, can we just set up 1 badge system so we don't have to monitor 2 databases? They said we can. We're going to work on that in the next couple weeks. The reason I'm sharing that with you, there's nothing you really need to do about that other than I want you to know that very soon your badges will work at Guilford, just like Guilford's will work at West. But what we have found when we went back to the database, several of you have, I'm going to say, a lot of visitor badges, and we noticed that there's not a lot of activity with those badges. So we're going to take this opportunity to ask you, do you still need these guest badges? Because remember, this is a key. This is a key. So when you give this out to somebody, you're giving them a key not only to our home, the outside doors, but in some cases you're giving a key to your apartment. And so we want to make sure that if you give it to your son or daughter, they still have it, because we don't want a badge out there that has access to friends' homes that's not being utilized. So for those that have guest badges, we may be checking back in with you to see if you still need those. All right, now let's talk a little bit about what's going on in friends' homes. I had a great suggestion that was made by one of our very own residents about an opportunity to come together. So when we talk about doing more activities with West and Guilford, social opportunities, a resident came to me and said, in October, West and Guilford have done a great job supporting the crop walk every year. What do you think about in October that we set up where West starts their crop walk here and walks going to Guilford, Guilford starts their crop walk at Guilford, walks to West, and we shall meet at the bridge. And then there's a time of fellowship, maybe a little social experience, and then we complete the walk. So me, being my negative self, said, nope, can't do it. Too dangerous. Danger, danger. And then this resident was very good. They're like, well, let's think about this. And I went, okay, let's think about it. They said, it's October. We're in July. A lot's happening between now and October. The bridge is done. They're actually working on the road now. Do you not think that there'll be a safe passageway between now and then? And I went, yeah, you're probably right. So I did bring that up on my call today with construction. They do believe that is feasible. So we'll talk to you more about that, but I think it's a great opportunity to come together as two campuses, raise money for a very good program, and hopefully the weather will be nice and we'll have a little social time at the same time. So I was very excited about that. All right, let me talk to you a little bit about scams. It's been a couple months since I've shared anything. Literally just happened 2 weeks ago, and this could be you. So a resident had about $400 of Apple gift cards in her hand. Is it called Apple? What's it called? Is that what it's called? Right? Okay. Apple gift cards in her hand. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? What are you doing with that? Oh, I got to figure out. I need to get it to a friend of mine that I work with that's in one of my local clubs. I went, okay, yeah, he's out of town and he needs some help. But I don't know how to get a picture of it because he's asking me for the back of the card to get the serial number so that he can use it. And I went, are you sure this sounds like a scam? No. Yep. I said, well, can I call him? And he's like, no, he's out of town. That's just it. He's out of town and he needs me. I said, well, how'd you find this out? Oh, he emailed me. And when he emailed you, yeah, he emailed me. It was his email address and everything else. I said, well, there's this thing that people do now. It's called spoofing, right? Spoofing. I've been spoofed 1 million times where they get your email address and they email your friends and saying, hey, it's Arnie. I need help. I'm down on my luck, or my car broke down. Can you send me money? I can't get close to a Western Union, but if you go get these Apple cards or iPhone cards, whatever, give me the back of serial number, I can use it as cash. So the person that was doing this was you could just tell, was very trusting and everything else. And I said, it is a scam. Please believe me, it's a scam. And this person believes, without a doubt, that it's not, because his friend emailed him. So here's what I want to tell you. We say this every time. Anybody, I don't care who it is, whether they call you, email you, whatever, if they're asking you for money or anything to do with your personal information, birthday, social security number, banking account, anything, no matter how legitimate it is, it's a scam. All right? I'd rather you think that it's a scam and then be embarrassed to find out, oh, it actually was my daughter that needed $100. I'd rather you find that out than the 99% of the people every day that are being taken, because they're taking advantage of our trust and faith in the human spirit. So with that being said, talk about it, tell your friends about it. Not everybody is here today, right? But make sure if anybody calls you or emails you, and again, these people are good. They know how to get information out of you. They know how to make you feel comfortable. You can go on the internet now, and I can find out so much about you that I can call you and probably convince you that I'm your son's college roommate or something. And I can find out if you got kids, where they live, all this stuff. Don't fall for it, okay? There are a lot of great people in this world, but there are a few bad people, and they are working hard to get your money. So most things are a scam, so stay away from that. All right. We had if you did not participate, I think it was last week. Sarah, was it last week? The social, ice cream social? Yeah, last Wednesday. So if you did not participate, it was a beautiful day, great music, free ice cream. I said this at the thing. I love ice cream. I love free ice cream even better. A lot of good fellowship. We had the same thing over at the Guilford campus the week before. Annual giving campaign is going well. We've raised almost $60,000 of a $150,000 goal. One of the things I want to share with you, though, this came up from talking to Ted, is trying to help residents understand what the annual giving campaign is for. It is actually for current needs. There's and even Sarah and I talked about this. When we talk about the capital campaign, which is something we're also doing, that is setting up for future need. But the annual giving is current need. So when we give to the annual giving campaign, you're not taking care of a future need. You're taking care of the need that's there here today. So that is why we do this every year, to support our current need. And we raise about 12 or 13% of our overall need. The $150,000 goal is about 13% of our actual annual need. So for those that have participated and contributed, I want to say thank you. Those that came to the ice cream social, thank you. Hope you had a good time. Nick, I tell you, I think the whole event was great, but for me, the highlight, Nick, his wife, his two beautiful daughters came. They gave us cards. I took the card home, and I went to my 14-year-old daughter and said, "Why are you not doing this?" She didn't feel too good about that, but I was so taken by just how genuine they were, how much they cared. I think that's a testament to you bringing them up, but to watching them dance. Those two little girls were out there dancing, and it was beautiful to see. So I think they were the hit of the show. Yeah, hey, I like that. Thanks, Nick. They can come anytime. I want to share with you on that same note, the capital campaign. So I think I talked about this last month. We are in the midst of doing a capital campaign. We are in the quote-unquote silent phase, but we're getting ready to go to the public phase, and that starts with you. So we're actually, I think Sarah and I and some other people that are on the capital campaign cabinet are going to meet with the Guilford and West Resident Council, either this month or next month. I get confused. End of July. We're going to come to the Resident Council. We're going to talk to you a little bit about it, and then what we're hoping to do is that we will come to the individual halls when you have your monthly meetings. And then Sarah and I, maybe someone on the capital campaign cabinet, will come tell you about the opportunities. It's not high pressure. All it is to answer questions, let you know about the opportunity. If you feel so led to support it, we're very grateful. If you're not, that's okay as well. But we're hoping to meet with the resident council in end of July, and then meet with you in your halls in September and October. So very excited about that. They told me not to tell you how much we've raised so far, so I'm not going to do that. But I've just been overwhelmed by the amount of support by residents, family, friends, our board, certain staff members that have already supported our goal to not only support the bridge and the benefits of the bridge, but also to support the concept of setting up a permanent endowment for residents' financial assistance. One of my things in the conversation I had with Ted that he thought I should bring up, which I think is very valid, is a lot of times when I told you about this bridge, I share with you the benefits from the standpoint of bringing us together as a community, bringing our campuses together to be able to share opportunities, whether it's with programming, dining experiences, whatever. But what I've learned from just a handful of people is that, hey, I live at West. I really have no intention of going to Guilford. That's great that you're building a bridge, but that's really not in my wheelhouse. So I don't really know if I want to support that or not. Well, probably something that you need to know is early on when we were doing our long-term community planning and we talked about how do we bring the campuses together, we talked about the connector bridge. But as we started working with the city came along and said, oh, that's nice that this is a concept, but it's actually going to be required. You have to have a second means of egress. Because we're expanding and what we're doing, you can no longer only have one way in and one way out into Friendly. So the bridge, even though from an emotional standpoint, we were doing it to bring us together, we actually have to build the bridge for our own safety, for emergency personnel and everything else, in case, God forbid, something happened, that we can get in and get out of the campus. So it's not only being done from an emotional standpoint, it's being done from a safety standpoint. So I do want to share that because I don't think a lot of people knew that. I know that's not something that I have been sharing in our past conversations. I also want to invite you to an opportunity. We've heard from some of you as you think about planning, state planning, whatever. It's kind of complicated. The laws are always changing. We didn't last year, but we've had some really good partnerships with Guilford College and other places where we brought in speakers to talk about estate planning. We're actually having another one in July 14th in this living room from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We've got 3 good speakers lined up for a panel discussion. We have a CPA, we have a financial advisor, and we also have an attorney coming. So that is on July 14th here from 2 to 3 o'clock. Please come participate. Should be some really good Q&A, and I hope to come too because I actually got some questions for myself as I'm thinking about the future. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about dining. We talked about how that we are looking at moving the dining room operations probably in August to the resident lounge. I think Donna shared in her memo that as we do that, some people are going to choose to eat in their room. So we're going to waive any delivery fees during the construction time frame for the dining room. So you don't have to worry about that. That will be an option. But one of the things I want to tell you is we've made some really good progress. I said this last time. Go back to the first week in April. Whew, I think we're all having fun. But every day, every week, we get a little bit better. I saw the new menus that have come out, and I feel Nick, Carly, I feel really good. I feel really good about what I'm seeing, where we're going. I will tell you, are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. We still got some issues, and we still have issues with hiring. And with hiring, we have issues of making sure people stay, right? Because I don't know if I shared a story with you or not, and if I did, just go with me on this one. So a friend of mine I was talking to, who is a CFO at Twin Lakes, was talking to his dishwasher, who, because they're friends, and was saying, hey, I need to get a second job. Full-time here, been there forever. And he said, I'm going to go get a second job. I said, okay. So he went, applied, this is in Burlington, applied for a part-time dishwasher at a restaurant. And the guy, when he was interviewing him, said, why don't you come work for me full-time? And he said, I already have a full-time job. He said, well, what would it take for you to come work for me full-time? And the guy said, I was thinking something stupid. I said, $18 an hour. The guy looked at him and said, you're hired. Can you start Monday? So the dishwasher company, now our dishwashers make $11.50 an hour. Their dishwashers make $11 an hour. So you can understand, probably not a hard decision, 11, 18. So he came back, told Brent, I'm really sorry. And Brent said, as soon as the world changes, they're going to let you go. I mean, this, right? They're not going to continue paying you $18 an hour once the world gets back to quote unquote normal. He said, I have to survive. I've got to do this. So the world is very challenging right now. Everybody is struggling to get people, retain people, and to some extent, we're competing against each other. So I tell you that to say that as we continue to fine-tune things, work on our service, we know the buffet's gone. Tables, the way it used to be as far as going, picking out your food, sit down, and being able to eat immediately, those times are gone. The dining is an experience. It's a table service. It's going to take a little bit longer. Should it take 45 minutes, an hour total to get to know, right? I mean, but could it happen? Yeah, things are going to happen. But what I want to share with you, as you have those experiences, please talk to Nick, talk to Carly, talk to Sanella, your wait staff. Share with them if your meal is not cooked right or to your expectation. Tell them, get something new, whatever. But love on your wait staff. Love on your wait staff because we want them to be here, and we want them because the longer they're here, guess what they're going to learn? They're going to learn you, they're going to learn your expectations, and things will continue to get better. But as we continue to hire new people, they have to get started over again, and you're kind of in this vicious cycle. Do I think things are going to get better soon? Yes. However, today I went to the mailbox and I had a nice letter from President Biden telling me how we got another stimulus that's coming out for like $3,000 or $3,600 for child tax. So I'm just telling you, people tend to do a little bit better at home than coming and making $11, $11.50 here. So the money will stop flowing at some point, and people are going to need a job. And we're going to be here waiting for them. But we're not there yet. We probably still got about 3 to 4 more months of dealing with a tight, probably longer than that, but a very tight labor market. So if you take anything away from that, know that we're making great progress in our dining. We know we're not 100% there yet. Continue to communicate with the team when you have issues, but love on the staff. Love on the staff. Activities. Man, I had a really, really good problem that was presented to me last week. Things are opening back up. I don't know how many of y'all went to the carousel Monday. I've never laughed so hard. Harold was telling me some stories. I was telling about Ruth, and Ruth trying to get down from the carousel, stuff like that, but I heard it was a really good experience. But, you know, with Amy here, Amy joined us in COVID. And so she's literally has had her hands tied for over a year now. We've got a brand new person over at Guilford that just started. She's a firecracker. And so watching them talk about what we want to do and activities and programming, I had someone come to me the other day and said, we got a problem. And I said, well, what's the problem? Well, we don't have enough budget driver hours. And I went, what does that mean? He said, well, we're going to have to cut back. And Teresa and I got together and went, well, he ain't cutting back. We're ready to go. We said, we'll figure that out. He said, let them program, let them do what they need to do. We will find the hours to make sure we meet it. Then the next thing they brought up is, well, we need another vehicle, because that's another issue going on is you got all these vehicles going all over the place. So in next year's capital budget, we are looking at getting yet another 15-passenger, 16-passenger van. But these are great problems to have, because the world is coming back alive. And I'm so excited about that. I don't know how many came here for the EMF to hear the young kids play. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So it's just nice that we're starting back out. I'm excited to see what's going on with activities. I do need your help, though. I do need your help. So I will not pick on any particular people, because this is happening both in West and Guilford. How many of us have great intentions to do something, and then the moment comes, and then you're like, I'm not going to be able to do that, right? I do that all the time. So when we have activities, especially when you're going out, a lot of people have good intentions of, I'm going to go Monday to the carousel, or I'm going to go to the pool at River Landing, both on Tuesdays and Thursdays, putting my name on there. And then what happens? You don't go. You don't go, because something comes up. It could be I slept wrong last night, or my daughter popped in and wanted to visit with me. But what happens is when we sign up and we don't take our name off, 2 things happen. 1, you're keeping someone else potentially from going. And 2, when you have people show up that want to go, then we don't have the right vehicle. Because what's happened in a couple cases, people didn't sign up and they said, hey, I want to go, but I didn't sign up. And then we have the small bus. And we need a bigger bus. Well, guess what? The bigger bus has already been put out. So what I want to share with you is, when you sign up for program activities, I want you to participate. I want you to go. They will assign drivers and vehicles to make it work. But if you know, not necessarily the day of, but if you know the day before, because that's when they pull the sheets to say, all right, how many people we have going, please mark your name off so that we give other people an opportunity to participate. The other thing I will tell you that we're hearing, and either I'm going to get claps on this or jeers on this, it seems very cold when we say the bus leaves at 8:30 and someone says, oh, but Arnie's coming. He's coming down the hallway. Just give him 2 minutes. And the bus driver says, I got to go. Well, that can seem very cold. However, everything's planned out. And I'll pick on River Landing. I know they have programming at the wazoo. So if we don't leave at a certain time, then that encroaches on when we get to River Landing, and that encroaches on when they have their program activities. We set times in order to make sure that we're also being respectful of the people that were there on time. so that they can go. We're talking about with dining, providing transportation between Guilford and West for those that may want to go eat at Guilford. And what we said, and that's what Homer was saying, he goes, if we tell the residents that that bus is going to be out there at 11:30, and it's going to be over at Guilford by 11:45, and vice versa, pick them up at say 12:30, they need to know that that's when it's going to be there, and that's when it's going to leave. Because if they're sitting there going, well, you said 12:30, but now it's 12:40, 12:45, it's just going to make a lot of people upset. So we want to stick to the times we put out there, but understand that things do come up. We understand that, but we do have some frequent flyers that sign up for a lot of things and then they don't show up, and it's keeping us from allowing other people to participate in that program. So just be considerate if you know you can't make it to take your name off if something comes up. All righty, I want to tell you about budget. I told you about a new bus. Another thing that we're looking at doing for next year's budget. I didn't get any feedback from y'all as far as anything you want me to look at for next year's budget, capital otherwise. But we're looking to get another bus. We're not looking at getting I think it was a recommendation about a 40 or 50 passenger bus. Those things are very expensive. They're very expensive to maintain, and what you find out, you don't use them that often. And so what we are looking at is maybe going in partnership with River Landing, because although they have a big bus, there's a need where we may get a bus and we can share it between the two of us. The other thing that we put in the budget is looking at new patio furniture for our patios and independent living off the various hallways. So we're trying to look at getting new patio furniture as well. I want to make you aware of that. We also put in the budget to enhance our current internet. If you got, I get a couple laughs. Yeah. As you know, our internet's not the best in the world, and we love Spectrum. And so we actually put in the budget to utilize a company that we're moving toward when our Spectrum contract ends in May of 23, to come in and put their Wi-Fi system. And so if the budget gets approved, the goal is to have that installed by April of next year. And they've installed it in the new construction, and it's nice. It's very nice, and it gets a lot more capabilities and it's more personalized. So you're not sharing one system, where 10 people are sharing one system. Each person has their own internet, dedicated internet. So very excited about that if it gets approved by the board. And there's some board members in here, so I'm hopeful they'll be supportive of it as well. I want to share with you some employee news. You probably do not know either of these employees, but they are retiring, and they've been with us a long time. Alice Carroll, she started with us 42 years ago. She is our director of IT, but Alice has been everything. She's been an administrator, she's been a social worker, she's worked in dining, I think she's even worked in maintenance, she's done a little bit of everything. But when Y2K came along, Wilson Sheldon said, we need someone to help us with our technology, and she volunteered, and she's been doing that ever since. She's our Director of Information and Technology. She's retiring next Wednesday after 42 years. And our Director of Human Resources, Pat Manuel, 25 years. She's retiring Friday, is her last day. So we're looking we've got an ad out for Pat's replacement, but we are very grateful to both of these ladies. Alice actually knew that she was going to be retiring. So she's hired her replacement, and he is awesome. His name is Mark Mitchell, and he is a firecracker. So we are left in good hands with Mark. Marketing is going very well. You may notice that our census is down here at West and Guilford. It's not that we are not sold. We actually are 96% sold here at West, but I think our actual occupancy is right around 90% right now. And in Guilford, they're right around 90% as well. Right around 93% sold. One of the issues we're having is getting these units turned over. I've been telling you this. The world is crazy getting materials in, labor shortages. So what we've seen is our turnover time frames has drastically lengthened. So as residents are moving through the continuum, it's taking us longer to get new residents in. So hopefully those beautiful red dots that you're seeing out there on the in-house box will start disappearing over the next 3 to 4 months as we have new residents moving in. Continue doing very well in our marketing of our expansion units. Vaccine percentage, we're seeing our staff numbers go up. We're at 65% now. Residents are about 98, 99%, but 65% vaccinated. We're actually getting ready next week. Every employee that is vaccinated is going to get $100 from us, a $100 bill. And a couple of the other Presbyterian communities have already done that, and they saw an uptick on people that went and got their vaccine. So we're still hopeful to get that number up higher than 65%, but we're going to be giving that out next week to say thank you for getting the vaccine, and hopeful that we'll get other employees that are willing to participate. So this could, again, could be good news or bad news, I don't know. I will not be here for the August Arnie chat. I am going to be going with my wife and daughter, celebrate our 25-year wedding anniversary. We're going to France, and hopefully they'll allow me to come back. I'm still watching this variant, Delta variant. I'm just still nervous that something's going to come up. But we've all been vaccinated, but we'll be going for 2 weeks in the first part of August, so I will not be here. However, we have scheduled some exciting people to come. Our very own Dr. Teresa Cox will be here, but some of you may remember probably about 6 or 7 months ago on one of our Zoom chats, I had our architect, I had Steve Johnson, who's over construction, and I had our contractor, and I was doing questions and they were answering. Well, they're going to do that again, and they're going to come here in person. So we're going to have Teresa Rikach, but we're going to have our contractor, our architect, and Steve Johnson. They're here to talk about where we are with the wellness center, the dining room, anything that's an opportunity for you to hear directly from the horse's mouth, but also ask them questions and hopefully get excited as we get closer to having this project wrapped up. So that will be the first Wednesday in August. Bed bugs. Favorite topic of yours and mine. So I just want to clarify something. So several years ago, we took the initiative to hit this issue head on, because it is an issue in our world and in our area, that we would be proactive on monitoring for bed bugs and checking for bed bugs on an annual basis. And so don't know how much Donna explained this in her minutes, so I'm going to bear with me if I'm repeating myself. So we had the dogs lined up. We actually thought we had an issue in some of the part of the building, and the dogs that we normally use have been retired, and they were great. I mean, they were spot on. If they said there was an issue, we brought PMI in. They said, yeah, dealt with it. So they retired. So we got referred to another company, and the dogs came out, and they had triggered maybe 5 or 6 apartments that had bed bugs. And we're like, oh my gosh. What's going on? Well, we brought PMI out, and they went, no, there's no issue here. There wasn't one, I believe, but there's no issue here. And we're like, well, we went back to the company. We said, what happened? Well, the dogs are new, and they're still learning. And we're like, it'd be nice to know that, because nothing stresses out residents more than say, you got bed bugs. It can happen, right? I mean, bed bugs is not a sign of filth or anything like that. It is a pest. And it is rampant, and not to scare you, but it is rampant. Out, not here, but in the world. So we said, hold up. We know we had you scheduled, but we don't want the newbies coming in. We want good old seasoned dogs to come in. So we're going to be doing visual inspections. We are going to continue doing the dogs once we feel confident that we've got a good set, that when they come through and they say you have an issue here, we know that we have an issue and we can deal with it. So I heard a couple chatters like, oh, y'all are stopping. Yes, we are stopping, because we want to make sure that what we do is right and that we don't cause any more anxiety than we need to. So we will be doing visual inspections, but the dogs will be coming back once we have confirmation of a good set that we can use. All right, I got 2 last things. Want to talk to you, I don't have an update on the Greenway connector. I can't remember if I mentioned this in my June chat or not. We did run into a little bit of a hiccup. We're good from the bridge going toward the Greenway, not a problem, moving forward. But the city is trying to do a national grant. In order to get this grant, they have to connect back up to Friendly. So they were going to try to use the property that we donated to them. That's that little area that you'll see deer at sometime, that kind of backs up where the villas are being built. but we had to cross through two neighbors' yards. And I can respect this. The neighbors are supportive of the greenway, just not in their backyard, because it literally would split their backyard in two. Who wants that, right? So I get it. I know why. So now the city's having to go back, find another way to route it to get to Friendly. So we feel really good that that project going from to the bridge to the greenway is good, but we got to find a way to get back to Friendly so that they can apply for this national grant. Still looking at early 2023 to have that completed. The board is very busy right now working on updating the mission, the vision, core values. We spent an entire almost 3 hours talking about mission, vision, core values. And I tell you how important communication is. Words matter. And so when I think about our board, I think about how much they care about Friends, where we are, where we're going. We spent so much time talking about words. We talked about the difference between equality and equity. And our core values is spices, simplicity, peace, integrity. But one of our core values is equality. Well, look it up. There's a big difference between equality and equity. So we talked about, should it be equality, should it be equity? We talked about this concept of diversity and inclusion. So we were spending a lot of time because the mission, the vision, and core values drives who we are and where we're going. So we have about 3 more meetings. We're working on our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. We have another meeting, I think, next Wednesday. But the board is working very hard on that. I'm very impressed with the time and commitment they're putting toward this endeavor. The last thing I'll share with you has to do with the dining program. I'm still hearing from a couple residents that are curious or interested in maybe switching from their existing contract to what we're offering new residents with the new contract, which is not really a dining program. It's really more of a service credit. So what I want to share with you is this, not to confuse anyone. In about a month, I'm going to look at everybody's meal plan, and I'm going to look at how you are using your dining dollars. If I see that you're not fully utilizing the program to its full potential, and it would benefit you to look at the new contract, I promise you I'm going to contact you individually to let you know, and I'm going to talk to you about this opportunity with this new contract. Nobody's required to change, but I've been hearing a lot of chatter and there's a little bit of confusion going on. I just want you to know if you got any questions about the dining program, new contract, your contract, just give me a call. I'll come talk to you. But I'm going to be looking at this probably in the next 4 weeks and reaching out to you individually if I see that you could benefit from moving to the newer contract. And that, one last thing. This is what I love about y'all. Whether you realize it or not, we do listen. But one of the things that's hard is things take time. Things take time in the world, and at a Quaker community, things take a lot longer because you have to listen, you have to get input, insight, you have to soak on it. So one of the things that came up last month, and we've been talking about this for a while, but was this concept of having couple units in assisted living, opportunities for that. And I shared last month that here at West, it's probably not going to happen. It's not really feasible for a couple of reasons. But in the last 4 weeks, the Guilford campus has, because I was sharing it with them, what came up, has come up with an opportunity to create couple units in their assisted living. That is feasible. So no, it's not ideal if you're one of those people that's a couple and one of you needs assisted living or both of you need assisted living, that you may not be here, but there's maybe an opportunity that you can go to Guilford and be together in a room versus being separated. So I want to share with you that your feedback is important. We appreciate it. There again, that's why the committees are important. You share your feedback, it rises up, we listen, we contemplate. I come here today, I tell you what we're hearing, and you let us know how you feel. But I was excited about that. So in our capital budget for next year, we're putting money in the budget to convert some of our assisted living units at Guilford into couple units. So that could be an opportunity and option for some residents. Okay, that was a lot. And I want to know if there's any questions. My friend Teresa has a microphone, and she's going to give a lot of feedback. So what I might do, if you want to, okay, if you just want to ask the question, I'll repeat the question, and then I'll try to give you an answer. So who's in questions? Yes, sir, Richard.
I eat breakfast every day here. Donna's letter had no information about what you're going to do about breakfast.
Okay.
There's a rumor that we're going to have to
bus. Okay, so the question is, Donna's letter talked about lunch and dinner, didn't say anything about breakfast, hours. There's a rumor going around that if you eat breakfast, you're going to have to go to Guilford to eat. So I want to talk about the rumor. That actually was contemplated. When you look at how many people eat breakfast, it's not a lot of people. Now, for those people that eat breakfast, that's very important, right? But what was happening was we were talking about, we got staffing issues. When we have to have a cook here, a person serving, everything else, we'd rather put them toward lunch and dinner. I took a shower and everything. We'd rather put them toward lunch and dinner so that we can support where most of our meals are being served. So we did contemplate shutting down breakfast and giving the opportunity to transport you over to the Guilford campus. I'm looking at Carly because I can't remember where we ended up. Did we end up that we're still doing breakfast here? No. Can you tell me what we decided we're going to do? Okay, so we have not fully resolved what we're doing for breakfast here at West. We have less than 30 days to figure it out. We are definitely going to put the option of going to Guilford to have breakfast with set times the bus will leave and bring you back. And we're looking for some pop-up options, where there's some continental options, things like that. I know you're bringing coffee back too as an option as well. So Richard, I don't have clarification for you, but hopefully by next Friday, when Donna's back, we'll have something in the minutes. For those that eat breakfast, I will go ahead and apologize, because if you didn't hear anything else, what you've been used to is going to be augmented. Maybe a lot, maybe a little bit, I'm not sure, but it will be a change. So as we know more, I'll let you know. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, sir. Okay, so comment was that Donna's note said the dogs will be here tomorrow in the 1000 building. I might stand corrected. I will always trust Donna before I trust myself. So I will find, do you know, Linda? They're not. There are no dogs coming. It's going to be a visual? Okay, so no dogs. So yes, so they are going to do an inspection, but we're not doing the dogs. We have, maybe that was originally scheduled, but when we found that dogs are still in training, we're still doing a visual inspection, which is a valid way of doing it. Not quite as good as the dogs, but still a valid way of doing it. Okay. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts or plans regarding an additional license to provide more, in my terms, adequate medical care? For example, if I had a bandage that needed replaced in my back, I don't want to have to call 911.
Okay, very good. So the comment is, what is the long-term plans for this community as it relates to enhancing medical care for independent living, so that the option really is every time I have an issue, I got to call 911 because nobody can do anything. So that is part of the strategic planning that we are looking at as far as the board's looking at. This is something, when I started here 5 years ago, Dan, it might be before you got here, was Donna had started looking at a healthcare license, and it kind of got tabled for a couple of reasons. And that's what we actually talked about in our strategic planning the week before last when we were talking about strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, is maybe a healthcare license. So if we did that, that would help us on two fronts. One, we would ramp up our staffing. Again, we're having a problem right now with staffing in general, but you can have staffing. You'll be our staff that will be responding, and we will be licensed that we could come into your apartment and provide services. And the second part where that's beneficial, as you know, is right now we can't do anything, quote unquote, legally in your apartment. And so for you to do that, either you need to be with PMI Senior Care and come down to the clinic, or you have to go see your own doctor. So I would say the answer to your question is getting through the strategic plan and then looking at how do we get a healthcare license. I always say it wrong. It's either home care or healthcare. Home care. There's a difference. So it'd be home care. Now, the thing Y'all won't remember this, but the thing you need to remember, there's a cost. So it's not free healthcare. So if we do a home care license, it means that we can provide services, but it will come at a cost. So if you just need a bandage or something like that, I'm making this up, it may be $10. But if you need someone to come help you get dressed or whatever, there will be a price structure. Most communities outside, they have a minimum requirement, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I believe if we had our own, the beautiful thing about that is we wouldn't have to do that because we have our people here. We could schedule it more on an individual basis. So that's a great question. So you need to keep bringing that up. I really mean that. Keep bringing it up.
I will.
Okay. I can count on you for that. Yes, sir.
If anybody is, as the medical director, as their primary care doctor, does that change your answer at all?
If anybody here has Dr. Gupta as their primary, does that change your answer at all? Not from the standpoint of we do not have any authority to provide any medical service in your home, regardless if you're with Dr. Gupta or anybody else. The only thing by being with Dr. Gupta is it allows you to see her in the clinic here, and we have more of a direct access with her. So if you're a patient of Dr. Gupta and you have an issue over the weekend, you're saying, I need this, we can actually call her and know that she's going to talk to us about you. But when you have an outside doctor, they really don't work with us too well.
If you forget a bit about the virus, if she was on assignment in assisted living, for instance, would an independent living resident be able to go there and get short-term help?
So the question is, if Dr. Gupta is working in assisted living and she was your primary doctor and you were having an episode in independent living, would you be able to go over there and get short-term help? In a perfect world, I would say yes, but for right now, I'm going to tell you no. Because typically, Dr. Gupta is assigned to West and Guilford full-time, her and her nurse practitioner, but she's scheduled out. So the clinic hours is her availability for that. Emergency-wise, she's like any other doctor. I know on occasion she's done it because she had the ability to do it, but I would not want you to walk away thinking that she will stop whatever she's doing to take care of that because she's got other resident patients to take care of. So I would assume the answer is no. But I know she's done it when she had availability, but I would not count on that. Yes, ma'am.
My concern has to do with the new dining room.
Okay.
When there are many tables filled, the sound gets louder and louder, and those of us that have hearing aids, and many of us do, I'm wondering if anything in the plans for the new dining room takes into concern an acoustical way of trying to mollify the noise level.
Okay, great question. So the overall comment has to do with, as you know, if you have a hearing impediment and you're in large areas and there's a lot of background noise, it makes it very hard to hear. And the way our dining room is set up now, with people in there, people are finding it hard and hard to hear because of background chatter. So with the new construction, has any consideration been made to talk about how to either minimize that through ceiling tiles or anything else to minimize the background noise? So unlike Richard's lights that I know that we talked about, I want to say yes, we did talk about that, and they are doing that. One of the things that we actually did is the original plan they had for the dining room had a larger seating capacity, and we told them, we're not here to try to make this like, get as many people as you can. We want it to be kind of a more of an open type experience. So they've actually backed off on how many table seatings they're putting in the new dining room so that we can flow-wise and just overall feeling. I do know Nancy Borum, both with the draperies, the ceiling tiles, and the various things she's designing, is taking that in consideration. But until it's here, whether all that works or not, I don't know. But it was discussed. It was discussed. Yes, sir.
Arnie, can you tell us what has been done or what has been proposed to take care of this beautiful piano we have up here?
So the comment is, can I tell you what has been done or what has been proposed to take care of this beautiful piano up here. So I'm hoping Teresa's gonna tell me what's wrong with the piano.
Well, we were told it was humidity, and
Humidity,
the
okay.
room dehumidifier was installed yesterday.
Oh, okay, good, okay. So Teresa shared with me that the issue with the piano relates to the relative humidity, which, you know, we've had issues in our building in general with humidity. And a new dehumidifier was installed yesterday. So we're gonna hope that that's what's gonna help with the issue we're having with the piano. I knew about the dehumidifier, I didn't know that we were having an issue with the piano, so thank you.
He said this morning it would take about 2 weeks to completely dry out the keys.
Okay, so we think about 2 weeks is how long it's gonna take to completely dehumidify and for the piano, hopefully to return back to normal operating conditions.
And we'll bring the man back in to check.
And we'll bring the band back in to check and verify. Thank you. Other comments, questions, thoughts? Good or otherwise? Wow, okay, so here's the deal. And for Nick's sake and Carly's sake, don't all of y'all get up at one time and go straight to the dining room and go, why does it take us so long to get my food? Thank you so much. Again, next August, I'll be back in the afternoon, I believe. Please plan on coming because we'll have special guests here for the construction project. July 17th, is that right, Sarah? Again, July 14th, next Wednesday. Again, we're going to have guests here for talking about estate planning. Looking forward to that. Thank y'all for all you're doing. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for your time.